The Brook by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Here, by this brook, we parted. I to the east and he for ItalyŠtoo lateİtoo late. One whom the strong sons of the world despise. For lucky rhymes to him were scrip and share, and mellow meters more than cent for cent. Nor could he understand how money breeds, thought it a dead thing. Yet himself could make the thing that is not as the thing that is. Oh, had he lived! In our schoolbooks we say, of those that held their heads above the crowd, they flourishĺd then or then. But life in him could scarce be said to flourish, only touchĺd on such a time as goes before the leaf, when all the wood stands in a mist of green, and nothing perfect. Yet the brook he loved, for which, in branding summers of Bengal, or evĺn the sweet, half-English Neilgherry air I panted, seems, as I re-listened to it, prattling the primrose fancies of the boy, to me that loved him. For lo Brook, he says, lo babbling brook, says Edmund in his rhyme, whence come you? In the brook, why not? Replies, I come from haunts of coot and hern, I make a sudden sally, and sparkle out among the fern, to bicker down a valley. By 30 hills I hurry down, or slip between the ridges, by 20 thorps, a little town, and half a hundred bridges. Till last by Philippol's farm I flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Poor lad, he died at Florence, quite worn out, travelling to Naples. There is Darnley Bridge, it has more ivy, there the river, and there stands Philippol's farm where brook and river meet. I chatter over stony ways, in little sharps and trebles, I bubble into eddying bays, I babble on the pebbles. With many a curve my banks I fret by many a field and fallow, and many a fairy foreland set with willow weed and mallow. I chatter, chatter, as I flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. But Philip chatterled more than brook or bird. Old Philip. All about the fields you caught his weary day-long chirping, like the dry high-elbowed grigs that leap in summer grass. I wind about, and in and out, with here a blossom sailing, and here and there a lusty trout, and here and there a grayling, and here and there a foamy flake upon me, as I travel with many a silvery water break above the golden gravel, and draw them all along, and flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Lo darling Katy Willows, his one child, a maiden of our century, yet most meek, a daughter of our meadows, yet not coarse, straight, but as lissom as a hazel wand, her eyes a bashful azure, and her hair in gloss and hue the chestnut, when the shell divides threefold to show the fruit within. Sweet Katy, once I did her a good turn, her and her far-off cousin and betrothed, James Willows, of one name and heart with her. For here I came, 20 years back's week before I parted with poor Edmund, crossed by that old bridge which, half in ruins then, still makes a hoary eyebrow for the gleam beyond it, where the waters merry-scrossed, whistling a random bar of bonny Doon, and touchĺd at Philippol's garden gate. The gate, half parted from a weak and scolding hinge, stuck, and he clambered from a casement, or to Katy somewhere in the walks below, Katy. Oh Katy never ran. She moved to meet me, winding under woodbine bowers, little fluttered, with her eyelids down, fresh apple blossom, blushing for a boon. What was it? Less of sentiment than sense had Katy, not illiterate, nor of those who dabbling in the fount of fictive tears, and nursed by mealy-mouthed philanthropies, divorced the feeling from her mate the deed. Lachey told me, she and James had quarreled. Why, what cause of quarrel? None, she said, no cause. James had no cause, but when I pressed the cause, I learnt that James had flickering jealousies which angered her. Who angered James? I said, but Katy snatched her eyes at once from mine, and sketching with her slender pointed foot some figure like a wizard pentagram on garden gravel, let my query pass unclaimed, in flushing silence, till I asked if James were coming. Oh, coming every day. Oh, she answered, over longing to explain, but evermore her father came across with some long-winded tale, and broke him short, and James departed vexed with him and her. Oh, how could I help her? Oh, was it wrong? Oh, clasped hands and that petitionary grace of sweet 17 subdued me ere she spoke. Would I take her father for 1 hour, for 1 half hour, and let him talk to me? Oh, and even while she spoke, I saw where James made toward us, like a wader in the surf, beyond the brook, waist deep in meadow sweet. Lo Katy, what I suffered for your sake. For in I went, and called old Philip out to show the farm. Full willingly he rose, he led me through the short sweet-smelling lanes of his wheat suburb, babbling as he went. He praised his land, his horses, his machines, he praised his plows, his cows, his hogs, his dogs. He praised his hens, his geese, his guinea hens, his pigeons, who in session on their roofs approved him, bowing at their own deserts. Then from the plaintive mother's teat he took her blind and shuddering puppies, naming each, and naming those, his friends, for whom they were. Then crossed the common into Darnley Chase to show Sir Arthur's deer. In copse and fern twinkled the innumerable ear and tail. Then, seated on a serpent-rooted beech, he pointed out a pasturing colt, and said, that was the 4-year-old I sold the squire. And there he told a long-winded tale of how the squire had seen the colt at grass, and how it was the thing his daughter wishled, and how he sent the bailiff to the farm to learn the price, and what the price he asked, and how the bailiff swore that he was mad, but he stood firm, and so the matter hung. He gave them line, and 5 days after that he met the bailiff at the Golden Fleece, who then and there had offered something more, but he stood firm, and so the matter hung. He knew the man. The colt would fetch its price, he gave them line, and how by chance at last, it might be May or April, he forgot, the last of April or the 1st of May, he found the bailiff riding by the farm, and, talking from the point, he drew him in, and there he mellowed all his heart with ale, until they closed a bargain, hand in hand. Evĺn, while I breathed in sight of haven. He, poor fellow, could he help it? Recommenced, and ran thrall all the coltish chronicle, Wild Will, Black Bess, Tantivy, Tally-ho, Reform, White Rose, Bellerophon, The Jilt, Arbaces, and Phenomenon, and the rest, till, not to die a listener, I arose, and with me Philip, talking still. And so we turned our foreheads from the falling sun, and following our own shadows thrice as long as when they followed us from Philipp's door, arrived, and found the sun of sweet content re-risen in Cadile's eyes, and all things well. I steal by lawns and grassy plots, I slide by hazel covers, I move the sweet forget-me-nots that grow for happy lovers. I slip, I slide, I gloom, I glance, among my skimming swallows, I make the netted sunbeam dance against my sandy shallows. I murmur under moon and star, in brambly wildernesses, I linger by my shingly bars, I loiter round my cresses, and out again I curve and flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Yes, men may come and go, and these are gone, all gone. My dearest brother, Edmund, sleeps, not by the well-known stream and rustic spire, but unfamiliar Arno, and the dome of Brunelleschi, sleeps in peace, and he, poor Philip, of all his lavish waste of words remains the lean PW on his tomb. I scrape the lichen from it. Katie walks by the long wash of Australasian seas far off, and holds her head to other stars, and breathes in April autumns. All are gone. So Lawrence Aylmer, seated on a stile in the long hedge, and rolling in his mind old waifs of rhyme, and bowing o'er the brook of tonsured head in middle age forlorn, mused, and was mute. On a sudden a low breath of tender air made tremble in the hedge the fragile bindweed bells and bryony rings, and he looked up. There stood a maiden near, waiting to pass. In much amaze he stared on eyes of bashful azure, and on hair in gloss in hue the chestnut, when the shell divides threefold to show the fruit within. Then, wondering, asked her lare you from the farm. Liesel answered she. Pray stay a little pardon me. What do they call you? La KT. That were strange. What surname? La Willows. No. That is my name. Lindeed. And here he looked so self-perplexed, that Katie lolled, and laughing blushed. Till he lolled also, but as one before he wakes, who feels a glimmering strangeness in his dream. Then looking at her, too happy, fresh and fair, too fresh and fair in our sad world's best bloom, to be the ghost of one who bore your name about these meadows, 20 years ago. L'ave you not heard? Said Katie, we came back. We bought the farm we tenanted before. Am I so like her? So they said on board. Sir, if you knew her in her English days, my mother, as it seems you did, the days that most she loves to talk of, come with me. My brother James is in the harvest field but says you will be welcome so, come in,